So getting shredded naturally is ridiculously tough. There's no shortcuts or there's no more steroids you're gonna use. But I built a set of uncommon habits that really changed the game for me, and it's gonna change the game for anybody else that tries to implement this. These are some of the most uncommon and crucial tips that you need to implement if you wanna get shredded naturally. They're different, they're very effective, I promise you, especially as a natural lifter, 12 plus years natty, and they help me stay lean all year round as a natural lifter as well. And stick around to the end, because the last habit is definitely the weirdest, but it's also one of the most effective ways I got down to below 10% body fat as a natural. And we're talking about besides the calorie deficit, besides just counting protein, this is one of the best ways to do it. So number one, cardio before lifting. Yes, I said it, cardio before lifting. So most people save cardio for the end of the workout. That's just a common thing in the fitness industry, but I flipped it around. I usually start with 20-30 minutes on an incline walk, around 3.8 speed or higher, 12.0 incline or higher for 20 or 30 minutes. Pretty much where you're around zone 2 cardio, where you could still hold a conversation and still feel fine. And here's exactly why I did it and why you're gonna do it now, especially as you get older. Because one, this is more apparent too for people who work in the morning. If you work out in the morning, it's gonna get the blood flowing and then you're gonna start to feel a lot more sharp during your lifts. Zone 2 cardio generally preserves strength without burning through your muscle mass. It can possibly help you reduce any type of injury risk, especially when you're warming up and priming up your body. We're talking about the older you get, especially with your hips, your knees, your shoulders, because those start to go. And now when I pick up the weight, I'm already warmed up, I'm fired up, and I'm just ready to go every single second of every single set. And on top of that, it's gonna increase all the dopamine, all the serotonin, all the endomorphins in your brain. Those are the feel-good chemical reactions that make you wanna work out. So mentally, if you're there, eventually physically, you're gonna get there as well. It's all about the visual aspects as well. If you can mentally picture yourself doing something, you're gonna get to that reality eventually. If you're running sprints before you lift, it's gonna kind of counterbalance each other, and then it's probably gonna affect your workout. So nothing too physically demanding, just a controlled incline walk that you could still hold a conversation. So it would look like something like this. So weeks 1 to 2, you do 20 minutes first, 3.8 on an incline, 12.0 speed or higher. As your body adjusts and your cardiovascular system gets better, then weeks 3 to 4, you're gonna increase the duration to probably 20, 30 minutes. Keep the speed, keep the incline, and let's leave it like that. And then weeks 5 to 6, now we're really gonna adjust it and we're gonna push it a little bit forward. And this is getting down tailored towards your cut, because you're gonna need to start implementing cardio for a way for you to expend more energy. So once you get down to the last few weeks to maybe like the last month of your cut, then you're gonna wanna like increase that duration anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour with the same speed, 3.8 speed to a 12.0 incline or higher. Number 2, the supplements that actually help, that are credible, and some other ones that you didn't know that actually help you as well. So supplements aren't a make or break, just understand that. They're only gonna push you about another like 5 to 10%, especially as a natural lifter. But anything we could take, any advantage we're gonna take, we're gonna utilize. Besides all the other enhancements, if you're not into that or you don't wanna do it, this is how we're gonna predominantly do it. The right supplements are pretty much gonna make the process easier, and this is how I would stack it. Creatine monohydrate. Monohydrate primarily, I usually like to get the GNC version because it's the cheapest. You can grab that on Amazon. To help build muscle, strengthen the gym, I generally take around 5 grams, a little bit more. It's gonna help to convert ADP into ATP, which is gonna help you push out that extra rep or 2. It's gonna also help you improve your recovery, your cognitive abilities. There's so many different benefits. This is one of the most credible supplements in the fitness industry to this day. There's no better supplement. Next one, fish oil. So generally with fish oil, you wanna take a few grams of fish oil per day. Why? Because it's anti-inflammatory. It's gonna help to reduce any possible inflammation you have in your body. It's gonna help you with your joint health, and it's gonna help you with your heart health. Predominantly too, I've seen a lot more studies coming out more and more in PubMed, in JAMA, showing the effects and the benefits of having fish oil to help increase muscle protein synthesis as well. So the way I implemented it, I actually had anywhere from 4 to 6 grams of EPA to DHA, and they came from specifically a brand called Nordic because it was third-party tested for purity reasons, for heavy metals, for all that. And because they were pretty expensive on Amazon, they're usually the highest grade, so I didn't have to worry about getting that much healthy fats later on in my diet when I started cutting calories. So I would generally take anywhere from 4 to 6 fish oils in the morning with the creatine monohydrate as well. Next one, vitamin D3. Now, generally you can get vitamin D3 from the sun, but if you live in the northern altitude, if you're always indoors, if you have darker skin, it's gonna be harder for you to get that. This vitamin D is very, very important. Vitamin D3 specifically because it's gonna help you to improve your mood, energy, it's gonna support your testosterone. The way I implemented vitamin D3 is I would take anywhere from 5,000 up to 10,000 IUs per day in the morning with my breakfast. So that was with my fish oil, and my next few use supplements. My creatine, one of the best brands, I believe, in my own opinion, that I still use to this day, and I will always vouch for them. Nordic is a really good one. Nordic Naturals, I will always vouch for them. And no, I'm not affiliated. Next one, very, very important because it's involved in over 300 different enzyme reactions in your body. It's going to help with relaxation, better sleep. It's going to really ground your anxiety, especially right before you go to bed, because I know like you, like most of us, we have a lot of anxiety throughout the day, throughout the morning, the evening, and night, between work, between family, between friends. This is gonna ground the hell out of you. Magnesium glycinate, specifically the one I like and the one I utilize is Pure. It's on Amazon as well. It's a little bit more pricier per bottle, but just magnesium glycinate, however you pronounce it. I generally take anywhere from 400 to 600 milligrams right before I go to bed. And now I take that also too because when you're physically active, you tend to sweat more. So you're gonna need a lot more magnesium electrolytes because you're sweating so much and you're sweating more profusely than the average individual. So magnesium glycinate stays in my arsenal every single day for years. So multivitamins are very important because they're going to provide a safety net, especially when you're cutting down calories, you're cutting down food volume, you're not eating as much micronutrients as you're used to. So because we're missing out on certain ones like maybe possibly vitamin A, vitamin C, we're going to get that from the multivitamin. And I still take multivitamin even on my lean bulk or my cuts all year round. I just generally take one tablet, one a day in the morning. You could take one a day men, one a day women. Either which way, very important, very apparent. L-glutamine. L-glutamine is going to help to support your gut health. And if your gut health isn't as good, it's going to be a lot more harder for you to predominantly lose body fat, or it's not going to be as easy. And I noticed a difference, especially too with my recovery when I took L-glutamine and there was no other variables, even for my other clients. Once I started implementing L-glutamine, and specifically the one I took was Muscle Tech, 5 to 10 grams every single day, my recovery improved so much that I was actually able to work out more with more intensity and then get more reps, more weight on the bar, and it helped tenfold. And they're only like 10 to 20 bucks on Amazon. I've also seen specific studies where they can possibly help reduce short-term illness like a cold, a cough, going from possibly a few days to shorten it down to maybe 2 to 3 days. So that's why I always keep L-glutamine every single day all year round. Last one, extend amino acids. Yes, I said it, extend amino acids. Why? This is an old school thing. I still 100% believe just because there's not that much research literature on it, it's going to be the extend amino acids, BCAAs, specifically leucine, because leucine is the amino acid that's the driver for muscle protein synthesis. This one I take and I've noticed a difference as well as for my recovery too. And the best part is the way I implement this is I put this in my gallon of water, especially during my cut because it's an electrolyte. It also has L-glutamine, going to reduce muscle mass during my cut because that's going to happen. I stick the amino acids about a scoop in my gallon of water, and that helps me to know that I kind of have like a more of like an insurance policy to not lose as much muscle mass during my cut. So I've noticed when I started keeping my amino acids and the L-glutamine every single day, I did not lose as much muscle as I thought I was, especially as a natural lifter. Like I said, you want to take every advantage as you can. This is one of the best supplements. And then I take Extend, specifically that brand. It's been tested by consumer labs to be very pure, and it's been honest between all the ingredients and how much it has in each ingredient. So I take that one. Mango is generally my favorite flavor, but they have other great flavors like strawberry kiwi and Airheads. And I'll tell you what, notice what's not here. It's the gimmicks. No fat burners, nothing like Oxy Shred and stuff like that, because I'm not a fan of that. I don't believe those work at all. But predominantly these supplements are a big, huge, crucial benefit to your training program. And like I said, with the amino acids, most people, want to say as long as you hit about a gram per pound of body weight, you're good on the amino acids. Sometimes even with the food labels, because they measure protein, nitrogen content in each one, they're not entirely accurate. So to have that buffer, to have that safety net is really good at all times, especially when you're naturally lifting. Number 3, celery before bed on my cut. This one sounds a little weird, but it works. At night, when you're craving something because you just cut off your last meal, like maybe a few hours beforehand, those cravings are gonna hit really, really hard, especially when you're going for those snacks in your fridge, like a lot of us do, maybe the cookies, the Oreos. I would always suggest you not to keep them in your closet, but if you live with other family members, you don't have a choice. Celery is predominantly like almost 0 calories. It has a few calories, but it virtually has very minimal. It's full of water, and it's full of fiber, which is gonna help you keep fuller for longer. And it takes a lot of effort to chew as well. So between all those combinations, it's gonna fill you enough to kind of keep your cravings down and stop me from blowing my calorie deficit. So you could generally even have up to maybe like 1 to 2 of those long stalks, but they'd still be less than 30 calories, 40 calories, and they would not blow your calorie deficit, and they would help you go to bed. Number 4, the watermelon sorbet hack right before you go to bed. So besides the celery right before you go to bed, the solution, if you're craving something sweet and on top of that, it's gonna help benefit you, is gonna be making a homemade sorbet. So one of the best things I've noticed is mixing a few ingredients in a blender, coming out amazing, filling, enough to satiate you throughout the night and help you go to bed. So that would be taking a few slices of watermelon, a bunch of broccoli, because broccoli contains fiber, ice, and blending it up in a blender. In which case you have something that's refreshing, hydrating, full of fiber. It was sweet, it was filling, and it actually gave me something I look forward to right before I go to bed. A few hours at least before I went to bed. And I'm telling you, that worked every single time I had a craving. Number 5, this is kind of well known, but it should be more talked about. No eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. I promise you, this should definitely be a habit without a doubt. One of the most effective rules to help with your fat loss, because we all know the first laws of thermodynamics, you want to eat less calories than your body expends in a day. But I'll tell you what, if you conserve or you eat most of your calories right before you go to bed, there's been specific studies where it can actually harm your sleep, so it can affect your sleep phase and possibly reduce fat oxidation levels. In which case, you want to cut off your last meal 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed, in which case I did. So I usually cut it off around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then I would go to bed around 10, 11. And if I didn't do that and I went to bed on a full stomach, it's gonna wreck your sleep quality, I promise you. The sleep is gonna get way deeper, your recovery is gonna get way better. And if you train at night, eat your post-workout meal, then start the timer. Otherwise, set like a hard cutoff and just stick to it. But 2 to 3 hours is very much a good leeway for you to have right before you go to bed. Number 6. Calisthenics, but not just any calisthenics, push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups. And we're gonna implement this 1 to 2 times a week. Why this is important. Even while you're lifting 3, 4, 5 times a week, I added calisthenics frequently. I'm talking about 1 to 2 times at least, minimum. Why? Because they're gonna keep you pretty much aesthetic. They're gonna burn a lot more calories in a way that you wanna burn more calories. And you build a lot more relative strength because it's gonna be your body weight. So we're talking about pull-ups, push-ups, and sit-ups. Dips are cool too, but I like to stick to push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups. And it's not about replacing the weight, because we're not. It's just adding more variety to your workout routine. I think some of the leanest phases come from mixing calisthenics with traditional lifting as well. And I don't know that many people that can still do calisthenics at a heavy body weight and not be in shape. Most of the times you see people that are over like 200, 250 that could do calisthenics still have a good amount of muscle mass, which is why I implement calisthenics towards the end of my workout every single time. So to do the cardio, I lift, even if I have to catch my breath for maybe like 5, 10, 15 minutes, I'll do that. And then I'll go from doing supersets of push-ups, wait about 30 seconds to a minute, and then go straight into the pull-ups. That's my first set. Wait 2 to 3 minutes and then go into it again. Number 7, and finally, the weirdest one, but the one that got me, honestly, the best results. And it got me below 10% body fat as a natural. And I'm not just talking about calories or just counting protein. This is one of the best ways you're gonna do it. I strip my diet down to the simplest it possibly can be. So it's 3 meals per day, chicken tenderloins, because they have a good protein to calorie ratio. They're the leanest because it strips away all the fat. And then black beans in a can specifically, with a little bit of spinach too, because you get some micronutrients. There's no sauces, there's no GQ sauce, there's no hot sauce, there's no sriracha sauce if you want to get really, really lean. And then nighttime, I would have the broccoli blended up with watermelon with ice for a low calorie sweet craving right before I go to bed. But I would still tailor it around 2 to 3 hours before I went to bed. And here's why this combination worked. The protein and fiber content is very important. The chicken and black beans kept me full on a few amount of calories. When I totaled up those calories between the chicken breasts, I would average anywhere from 800 to 1,000 calories for just the chicken breasts. And that would get me around 200 to 250 grams of protein. And I knew those were complete high quality protein sources. And on top of that, the black beans would be in a can. So the black beans were generating around like 300 to 400 calories in one can. And then if I did 2 of those, tops 600 to 800 calories. So immediately I'm already in a calorie deficit for my body weight. The next one was gut health. Now, because the beans, the spinach, the broccoli gave me all the fiber I needed, my digestion stayed very much well intact. And actually sometimes it kind of got really good. It got a little bit better sometimes. Micronutrients, even with the limited amount of foods I had, the spinach, the broccoli, and the watermelon covered a lot of the vitamins, the minerals I needed. Even my multivitamin covered a lot of the vitamins I needed. It covered the hydration, antioxidants. It covered a lot of the stuff that I was probably missing out if I didn't include those. Healthy fats. Now, the healthy fats predominantly came from my fish oil, but they were very much high quality fish oil. Since my diet itself was almost fat-free, I needed the fish oil for the omega-3s to keep my hormones in check, which I still keep it to this day. I still keep it pretty much low fat, but I still keep those omega-3s into this day because they are high quality fats. And the last one is simplicity. So there's no decision making. It was just automatic consistency, just going back and forth every single day. The most important thing with this plan is this isn't a forever plan. I ran this for like 3 to 4 weeks max, just as a tool to get some of the leanest I possibly can be. After that, I went back to a more balanced eating. I started including a little bit more eggs. I added more rice like basmati or brown rice, and then I added more sauces. I added more wild blueberries, apples. But for dropping fat very, very quickly, it was one of the most effective strategies I've ever used. And then if you implement that, you're gonna see for yourself. So those are some of the 7 most uncommon habits you're never gonna hear about that got me shredded as a natural lifter for 12 plus years. Listen, getting shredded as a natural lifter is tough enough. We don't have enhancements, we don't have peptides, we don't have SARMs, we're not using any of that. But if you know the right strategies and ways to implement your diet, because your diet is 80 to 90% of how you're gonna look, your training program and your supplement stack, you can get there easily. And if it was up to me, and I'll tell you this, pick 1 or 2 of these uncommon habits that you can implement in your day, then stack more of them as you go along. But make sure that is the only variable you're changing, or else you're not gonna see a difference. And remember, the extreme chicken and black beans diet, that was just a short-term thing. That's not a lifestyle. You need to use these habits wisely. And then you're gonna see the results without burning yourself out, I promise you. And if you guys need more help building a customized nutrition program tailored just for you, hit my link below, sign up to my online coaching program, and I promise you, I'll get you there in 90 days or your money back. I'm not gonna waste your time, and I'm not gonna waste my time.